First, they called it soldier's heart or sentimentality, then shell shock, then battle fatigue, and finally settling on post traumatic stress disorder. But it's still not understood in the general population how prevalent it is for soldiers returning for war or nurses dealing with COVID for so long that end up homeless or committing suicide. I have PTSD, but not for those reasons, for the reasons that people have staged lie after lie about me for 10 plus years, probably throughout my whole life when I didn't understand it. But due to the consequences of them staging lies, all the judgments that have made about me, false judgments, and people continue to tell lies about me. As indicated today, over and over again, they've been prompting to my YouTube feed that children are now allowed to put in anonymous complaints about people. So usually that means when they're prompting that to my YouTube feed that that's already happened, that some child has made a complaint against me. I've never done anything to a child. So, children are prone to lie. That should be obvious. And I've already complained about minors making up lies about me. But that contributes to my PTSD, as all the lies do the last 10 years. The lies, the staged lies, the attacks I go through for the last 10 years, people stalking me in public, breaking into my home for 10 years, staging lies with my clothing, bringing it back, claiming that I know people I don't know, claiming I have a relationship when I have not had a date, relationship, or romance in 10 plus years or 8 plus years now. Not shown any interest in anybody locally here for 8 plus years. Yet people still trying to claim I have some connection to people I don't have. It all contributes to my PTSD when I have to have, venting bouts at home by myself. And then when I'm doing that because of what I'm reading, as I'm scrolling through YouTube, then people hack my mic and claim I'm threatening them or that I have some connection to them I don't have. I have PTSD. I get SSI for it since August 2022. I just got done watching a documentary on PTSD, actually several of them, because I wanted to understand more of the soldier's point of view, because every time it's indicated I was a soldier, I reject that right away because of my PTSD, because I'm trying to get the truth out about my life, and it's traumatic to me that I can't get the truth out while people are making these assumptions about me based on lies. But the last one I watched affected me. It was victims of war PTSD. A sister, a younger sister of her brother, ended up overdosing on painkillers and dying. It was about her story, and it was about a couple of the soldiers' stories. They're all different. They're all affected differently by what they experienced and how they got PTSD. And, so is my PTSD. It's people taking my life away and becoming more and more isolated because, every time I go out in public, people are staging a new lie, and people are, assuming that I actually did these things and laughing. And I can never get the truth. I can almost never have the truth about my life when I go out in public, which, is stealing my life while they steal my space interaction theory ideas, poems, blogs, and inventions. And it's PTSD. And if you don't understand that, it gets ingrained in your mind and you cannot get rid of it. It causes a fight or flight syndrome in you, and for me, it's usually fighting. My flight would be holing up in my home, which I do often as well. So I don't think of that as flight. I think of that as recovery because I'm exhausted with dealing with the stage lies and the effects of the stage lies. And now they've got kids that they can put in anonymous complaints that I had nothing to do with. So, people cannot make judgments based on anonymous complaints when people have been attacking me for 10 plus years now. I have nothing to do with any children. I have not contacted any children. I've not looked at any children. I don't know of any children that claim any of my ideas, but it's been indicated before. It's obviously not fair to me, that kind of system, but people cannot be making judgments on that. I have nothing to do with any children. But these documentaries on the soldiers that came home, important for me to be reminded of what people go through in war. And I'm not defending the people that destroy my life with lies, whether they were in the military or not. They don't get to be defended because they're just, ripping me off because they have PTSD. I have PTSD. So, but it's important for me to understand what soldiers come back with when they actually go through combat or combat related service, because I'm so immersed in my own PTSD for the last 6-7 years that I can't see outside of it. And then when I get indications that I was in the military, I automatically reject that, and I get angry that people are, confusing me with somebody else that was in the military, or one of the frauds that's, pretending to be me or whatever. But it's important for me to understand the real victims that actually have PTSD. And these good nurses that had to go through the COVID experience, a lot of them have PTSD from dealing with so much death and trauma, and seeing so much of that they can't do their jobs now. A lot of them cannot work, I think, because of that. So it's important for the public to understand what PTSD is, and it's important for those that have PTSD to continue to talk about their lives, because that's the only way you untraumatize yourself, is to talk about it in any way you can. That's why I talk about my life, because my life has been constant trauma for the last 10 years. And it started, my PTSD started long time ago, but in the last 10 years, it's been very acute due to all the stage lies about my life, and all the effects of those stage lies on my life. But it was good to see these videos on the PTSD from soldiers coming back from active duty combat, because none of them can come back normal from that. Their lives will always be changed, and they're going to have to adapt back into society. And in order for them to do that, they have to talk about their trauma. They have to unload it. They have to find a new purpose, and they have to do that all while keeping themselves in check with PTSD. As I well know, that I get very angry at times, and sometimes it makes sense and sometimes it doesn't. Most of the time it makes sense now because I've figured it out, but sometimes it still doesn't, because I'm getting so frustrated with not being able to live a life for 10 years that I just unload my anger at home by myself, but I have my data on so the frauds can hack my mic while I'm doing it. And then they claim I'm threatening them or bullying somebody. I'm not bullying anyone. I'm being bullied by a bunch of liars who steal my life's work, my poems, my blogs, my inventions, my theory of the universe, my theory that supernovae begin star formation, not end them. My theory that the Gulf of Mexico is an impact crater, the whole thing, not just the Chicxulub crater, happened 250 million years ago. that caused Pangea to split up and knocking South America south and Africa east like pool balls. Those are my quotes. Those are my ideas. There's no one else involved in those ideas ever. I do not collaborate with anybody. That's also part of the trauma of my life, and the PTSD is people stealing is a large part of the trauma is people stealing my life's work while I get blamed for things I didn't do. And the person that called me a robot throughout my life, I keep getting those indications. Why do they take credit for the good things I did, but none of the bad things that I've been indicated to do in my life? It's been indicated I killed somebody or raped people or whatever. Why aren't they taking credit for those things that I never did? Maybe they did those things. Maybe they're killers and they're trying to take credit for my good things with their nanotech, biotech surveillance and trying to blame the bad things on me. Maybe whoever, discovered these, nasty things that I supposedly did that I didn't do, maybe they're involved in it. But whoever called me a robot throughout my life is just trying to steal my ideas. That's fact. So they're a criminal. Maybe they're involved in these so-called crimes that I've been indicated in doing. I've never killed anybody, never raped anybody, I've never assaulted anybody, I've never locked anybody up. I moved into the mobile home July 6th, and then it was indicated that somebody got locked up in the camper after that. It would all be staged lies. Give them a bunch of lie detector tests and see if they pass them. And then if they do, then they were tricked by someone else pretending to be me. That wasn't me. And I saw John Fetterman was wearing a Carhartt long-sleeved black thing. I haven't worn a Carhartt product in a long time. I just put on my swimming trunk shorts in my home because it was getting hot in here today, but I hadn't had those on since I got groceries, since long before I got groceries last on the 15th of September. So I would like to encourage anybody that has PTSD to commit to not commit suicide, which I did several years ago. And it's helped me to take that off the table despite all the trauma I go through on a yearly basis here as I get accused of things I never did by, people that call me a robot that I never was so they could steal my ideas with their nanotech, biotech garbage. I've never used Chat GPT. I never will. And I think it makes people dumber, which I've been narrating my life again recently. I'm just narrating my life, going through YouTube, scrolling through it. I'm not a comedian. Nothing I do is about comedian stuff. I was on one of the cam model sites again, flirtforfree.com, and was flirting with Sunshine Eve. She's 28 years old. She is not a teenager or younger. She is 28. And she laughs when I say something funny. Most of the time I'm flirting with her. Everything's sincere. Sometimes she doesn't know it's me. She thinks it's one of these frauds that lives in the ocean or something. Some fraud that lives on a boat or in the ocean, something, I think. But unless I specify it's me, she doesn't sometimes know it's me, I think. But it's me that makes her laugh, so and smile. But anybody that has PTSD out there, I hope you commit to not commit suicide, because there's an end to it if you talk about it enough, you seek enough help, and at some point you'll have a purpose in your life when you find something you're passionate about and you've gone through that. You'll be a stronger person. The sensitive people that go through traumas and make it and survive and find a way to go on are the strongest people on earth. And I hope you make it.